Okay, so if we go back to the RC circuit, we had some voltage source, and then we had a switch which get closed at t equal to 0, and then we had a resistance, and then I had a capacitor. So this is your C and this is your R, and here is your voltage source. Okay, right now I am not putting the values for it. You can later put values in the expression. So right now I will derive it in terms of R and C. So the first step is that so I'll take this as the output, okay, and this one I will take it as the input. So you write KVL V in of t is equal to R into I of t. So I of t is the current that flows, which is what we want to find out. So find I of t for t greater than or equal to 0. So V in of t, this applied voltage, is equal to R into I of t. So I am assuming this potential drop like this in the direction of current flow. So it will be equal to R into I of t, then plus my voltage V0 of t. Okay, so I am not writing this relation, that is I know that V0 of t is basically 1 by C integral I of t dt. So where t goes from minus infinity to t. So if I substitute that, then there will be an integral, and so that I have not covered in signals and system how to find the Laplace transform of an integral of a function. So what I would do is that I will write it as V0 of t itself here, and then I will replace I of t in this expression as C d V0 of t by dt. So this way I can escape the need for writing the integral, and only problem is that instead of I of t, my variable will become V0 of t. Okay, so that finally I will try to settle. Okay, so let's find out V0 of t. So I R into, so substitute it here, R into C d V0 of t by dt plus V0 of t. So this is my differential equation. Now whenever you see a differential equation, what you need to do in Laplace transform method we can use to solve this differential equation. So taking Laplace transform on both sides. So Laplace transform is a very good tool to solve differential equations. Otherwise it will become more complicated. This is an easier method. Okay, so now taking the Laplace transform, LHS I have V in, that will become V in of S. Okay, and then RC into Laplace transform of dV0 of by dt, I can write it as S into V0 of S minus V0 of 0 minus. Okay, so I will use small letter for time domain and capital letter for frequency domain, and then plus V0 of yes. So all that is remaining is so this is step 1. So step 1 is basically writing this KVL, then step 2 is basically writing the Laplace transform on both sides. This is step 1. Then step 2. Now we can go to step 3. which is an algebra. You bring the unknown into one side, that is V0. So I can write it as RC S plus 1 into V0 of S. So that is the unknown I have, and then minus RC into V0 of 0 minus. So that is our Vn of S. So now I will write V0 of S will be equal to Vn of S divided by 1 plus RCS. That is one term. Okay, what I did is basically I divided both sides with RCS plus 1 or 1 plus RCS. So the Vn term will become Vn by 1 plus RCS, and I can take this term which involves initial conditions also to the other side. So that will become plus RC into V0 of 0 minus divided by 1 plus RCS. So now this is after simplification. Now we substitute what is Vn of S. Vn is basically like a step function. You are applying all of a sudden, when you apply this t at t equal to 0, when you close the switch, the whatever voltage is here, that will come at the input. So and so it is like some u of t or some constant into u of t. So what I will do is I will assume Vn of t, I can write it as some V0, not V0, V0 I am using already. So let me use some other, or some A into u of t. Where A is just a voltage, what the magnitude of the voltage, and u of t says the switch is getting closer at t equal to 0 and the constant voltage comes. So it will be A by S into 1 plus RCS, because unit step function has a Laplace transform which is Vn of S is A by S. So that I am substituting, and then I have RC into, now V0 of 0, that depends on the problem. In the problem that we solved in the lab, we have assumed that initial charge was 0. Okay, we didn't give any initial charge, so the capacitor voltage was initially 0. But if you have a problem where it was not so, before the closing of the switch, if the capacitor has any voltage on it, then you can put that voltage here. Okay, but in our case this is 0, so that term vanishes. Okay, so because it is 0, so this term vanishes. It's 0 if initial condition is 0. Initial condition, if 0 initial condition. So the only term will be due to this, which is due to the input. So this is called as the zero state response. Alright, so now step 4 is basically finding V0 of t, which is Laplace transform inverse of A by S into 1 plus RCS. So if you want to find out the inverse, so we have been doing many problems. So what you need to do is take that expression and write it as a partial fraction. Okay, so A is already used, so let me use a different variables for residues. So it is K1 minus K1 by S plus then K2 by 1 plus RCS. Okay, so we need to find out K1 and K2. So that is, if you multiply with S into 1 plus RCS, So K1 into 1 plus RC S plus K2 into S. So I have taught you various ways to find out K1 and K2, which are the residues. So one of the ways is like put S is equal to 0 and see what happens to the equations. So if you put S is equal to 0, K2 goes away, and here RC into S is 0. So right, RHS is K1, so we will get K1 as A. Now we can do an equating the coefficient of S. I can find out K2. So here the coefficient is K2, and here it is K1 into RC, and K1 is A, so I can write it as A into RC. So A into RC, because K1 is A, so that is the coefficient of S here, and then we had a constant term, we don't consider it, and it is equal to 0. So therefore from this we will get K2 as minus A into RC. So we got K1 and K2. Now I can go back and substitute these values. So this can be written as A by S, then minus A RC by 1 plus RCS. So this is a standard form, and therefore we can write the inverse directly by taking the corresponding expression. Okay, so A by S, that is our U of t, A into U of t, minus, now here A into RC is a constant. Now I can further write this term in a slightly more standard, dividing it by RC. I can write it as A by S minus A by this will become S plus 1 by RC. So this is even more standard. Why? Because we have direct formula to find the inverse here, and that is A into e raised to minus t by RC. Okay, so 1 by RC comes from here. It is a coefficient. If it is S plus 1, I will write it as e raised to minus t. If it is some other quantity here, I will write e raised to minus of that into t. So here it is 1 by RC, so I am writing e raised to minus 1 by RC into t, then divided by sorry, not divided by, it will be multiplied with u of t. Okay, so when S goes to S plus 1, what happens is that it will be multiplication by e raised to minus t by RC. Okay, so this is basically application of the formula that we studied. Laplace transform of e raised to minus at u of t is 1 by S plus A. So that is what I have used. So here A is basically 1 by RC. So I just substituted it. So we got this expression. So let me rewrite it below. So A into u of t, A into u raised to minus. So keep that in mind with a minus sign, because the second term has a minus sign. So therefore we got the output voltage, that is the voltage across capacitor, as A into u of t minus A into e raised to minus t by RC into u of t. So which, if I want, I can write it as, I can take A outside, 1 minus e raised to minus t by RC into u of t. So this is the theoretical expression for voltage. So you can combine or compare this with the waveform that you got. So if you remember the waveform for output, what you got in the last lab class, is that a plot with respect to time V0 of t, and depending upon the voltage that you give, say 5 volt, then it will go to 5 volt. If you give a volt, it will go to a volt. And then what we saw is that the plot was something like this. Okay, this is the kind of plot that you got. Now what you need to do is basically check whether they match. So that's what you have to do. So in the theory part, you write this equation for V0 of t and match with what you get to experiment. So they should match. And so here your RC depends upon whatever value that you take for R and C, and A is basically the voltage that you take for the DC input voltage source. And you will see that this expression will match each other. So one way to check is like you take different values. So take for example, let's take t equal to 0. T equal to 0, this expression will give V0 of 0. And V0 of 0 is what? When you put t equal to 0, it is 1 minus 1, that is 0. So that is matching. So that is this point. Another point you can take is t at very large, t is equal to infinity, you can take. So V0 of infinity at very large values of t, this exponential will be e raised to minus infinity, that goes to 0, and you will get it as a. So that also matches. Okay, so at very large value it is going to a, you are getting it as a, so this is matching and this is also matching. And similarly you can take at any point of time. Another interesting point of time is basically t equal to RC. So if you take t equal to RC, then your V0 of RC, so that is t equal to RC, is basically a into 1 minus e raised to minus RC by RC, which is e raised to minus 1. Okay, so this is basically a into 1 minus 1 by e. So you can use calculator to evaluate this value and check whether it is so it may be somewhere here. So this will be it is called the time constant. So when the time becomes time constant, you will have so if you find this value in calculator, so let me just quickly find out what is 1 by e. So e is basically 2 point or let me just take scientific calculator and write e raised to minus 1. So e raised to minus 1 is basically 0.36, and then plus that with 1. So what you will get is basically 0.632 into a. So this is what you will get. So when you take RC value, you should get this as 0.632 into a. So this way you can verify your simulation result whether it is true. So the definition of time constant comes out of this, that is when t is equal to tau, so in this case it is RC for resistor capacitor circuit, the V out reaches 63.2% of the final value. What is the final value? Final value is this a. So it reaches 63.2% of the final value, which is basically 0.632 into a. So that time it takes to reach the or we can say the time it takes for the output to reach 63.2% of the final value. is called as the time constant. That is called the time constant or tau. And in this particular circuit, this is equal to R into C. And same thing you can do with the inductor circuit, where it will be coming out as L by R. Okay, so this is the theory that you can discuss, but you don't need to show all these derivations in the lab report. So this is for your understanding only. I have written this, but you should know how this expression comes, okay, how it is derived. So this is the voltage. Now you should be able to do for current expression, because you have a relationship between voltage and current, right, which I have written here. Once you have voltage, you can just substitute here and write the current. So this current is basically C times d by dt of A into 1 minus e raised to minus t by RC into into u of t. So we are taking time for t greater than or equal to 2, where u of t is 1. So into 1. Okay, so this current, if you try to find out, first term is a constant, so derivative when you take, it will become 0, whereas the second term is an exponential, so only that term will survive. So A into C d by dt, and there is a minus sign, and then e raised to minus t by RC. So this is what we will get. So this is equal to A into C into minus 1 by RC, okay, into e raised to minus t by RC, okay, which is basically, so C cancels and minus minus cancel, so it is just A by R into e raised to minus t by RC. So this is valid only for t greater than 0. For t less than 0, it is 0. So we can combine both cases. So this is for t greater than or equal to 0. For t less than 0, this is 0. Sorry, I of t is 0. So therefore, for all the time we can say, therefore I of t is equal to I of t is equal to 0 for t less than 0, and A by R raised to minus t by RC for t greater than 0. So this thing I can write in a simplified manner using the unit step function as A by R raised to minus t by RC into u of t. Okay, so this also you can compare and check. So if you take different values of time, whether what you are getting from the expression matches with what you are getting through simulation. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So now let's proceed to today's experiment. So today's experiment is basically an extension of what. Yes.
Sir, is that derivation for series circuit, sir?
Is there derivation for
A series circuit.
which series
Then you have
circuit?
derived for
Which series circuit you are talking about?
sir, that going of current, sir. Growth of current. It's just you derived just now, sir. It's RC circuit.
RC circuit I have derived and shown it, no? This one?
Yes, sir. Can you please show the circuit diagram, sir?
Oh, this RC circuit. Okay. This one.
Yes, sir. So it is for series. Then for a parallel, we have to derive by ourselves.
No, parallel I did not ask you to do. Did I give you parallel circuit to do?
think, sir, you gave for the inductor part in series. This is.
No, inductor part also I have already worked out. No? In the class I have worked out the theory and also shown it also in the last class. The last class I have shown both RC series and RL series. Both were shown. So if you are not present, then you can. I have uploaded the lecture. I mean that video also, so you can go through it. And
Yes.
the theoretical part is the same calculation which I shown here. I have done in the signals and system class, so you can have a look at that also. But my point is that what you get through simulation, you should compare it with what you get through the analytical derivation. But you don't need to write all of this in the report, but you should understand and know how it is derived. Okay. In the exam, I will ask you to derive it, but in the report, you can make it convenient. For your convenience, you don't need to write a lot of pages. So just only your experimental part, I want you to highlight the result, screenshot of the circuit, the results that you can put them together and make the report.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's now go to today's experiment. So this experiment is basically an extension of the last experiment. Last experiment we had first order circuit. Now we will go back to our RLC series circuit. So again we start with opening a new file and then build the circuit. So you need a voltage source. So we will use a pulse source to do this. One voltage source, then one resistance. Take the resistance, rotate it like this, so that the current will be measured with respect to left to right direction. Otherwise what happens is that when you measure the current, by default it will come from right to left with only one rotation. Then L is also control R. If you do, you can rotate it. Then you take one capacitor. So this capacitor you can keep it like this. So the label should be above. That way you keep all the components. Now you need a ground. Next step is basically connecting these components. So you connect it like a series circuit. Connect the ground also. Next step, for simulation to run, you need to give values. You cannot run the simulation without giving values. So you can give some values. Later we will change these values and see what happens. So let's say it is 10 ohm, and this one is let's say 1 milliampere, and then this capacitor, let me give it as 0.1 milliampere. So you can take whatever value you want, but the result will depend upon what value you take, and we will later change the values and see what is the effect of these values. Now I need to give this I will go to the advanced and take the pulse waveform. So I have to give an initial value which is 0. Final value, maybe I'll give 1 volt, and then delay I don't want, so I will keep it 0, and then rise time I can give say 1 nanosecond to make it very fast, going from 0 to 1. And then fall time I'm not specifying because how long it is going to remain, so that may be like so it depends on the component values, how long if I have to show the simulation. So okay, so let us not specify it, let's see what happens. Okay, this I am only showing one transition from 0 to 1. At 0 time it goes, and the change will happen in 1 nanosecond. It takes 1 nanosecond to go from 0 to 1 at t equal to 0 seconds. Okay, so I specified all the values. Now I can run the simulation. So I run the simulation, and when you run the simulation you have to specify how long you want the simulation to run. Okay, so that will depend upon the components involved here. So let's say okay, so approximate time is like one cycle of the resonant frequency will be like so root LC. So this is equal to 2 pi into root LC. Okay, so root LC is this, then into 6.28 into 6.28. So that is this. So this is how much, this is basically 1.98 millisecond. Okay. So I should have an estimate of how much time the simulation should run. So you find out the time period of oscillation at resonance, which we did earlier also. So we got it as 1.98 for this parameter values L1 and C1, so which is around 1.98 millisecond. So I will have to run a few cycles, say 5 millisecond would be enough. So I'll put 5 millisecond here, and then time step, it is always good to take max this to be say 1 micro, so that will get more finer simulations result. Okay, so requires minimum of 5 parameters, only 4 specify. Okay, so this is not taking, so let me go back. In the definition I need to put one more value here. So this is also one, let me specify say 10 millisecond. Okay, so now let's run. Okay, so it is going. Now let's see what happens at the capacitor voltage. You see that the capacitor voltage, there is no oscillations, it is just rising. I gave an input. This is looking very similar to the first order case. I gave a pulse which is like closing a switch at time t equal to 0. Initially capacitor has 0 voltage, and then it is rising and going into the final voltage at infinity. You will get say 1 volt, whatever 1 volt we have given. So our input is this, you can see this blue is our input. It goes to 1 from 0 in a very short time. It actually takes 1 nanosecond, but since our x-axis is in milliseconds, it is not noticeable even, but output is slowly catching up. Okay, so that is one thing. Now what I'm going to do is that what is the effect of reducing the resistance. Okay, so I'm just changing it from 10 to 1. So I'm rerunning it. Now you see very interesting pattern is coming. What is happening? The input is suddenly changing, and then the output, which is the voltage on the capacitor, it is trying to go to 1 volt, but it offshoots. It goes beyond 1 volt. In fact, it goes to 1.6 volt, and then when it goes to 1.6, from there it comes down, but then it goes under 1 volt, and then it comes around say 0.62 or something, like 0.64 or something like that, and then again it goes up and it comes down, goes up, comes down, and ultimately it converges to 1 volt. Okay, so this is the variation. So I just reduced the resistance value. You see that all currents are in from left to right. Okay, so that's what I wanted. Okay, so different values of R. So this is 1 volt, and earlier was 1 ohm, and earlier was 10 ohm. Now if I put somewhere in between, if I put somewhere in between, then again you can see that it just goes above, and then it comes to 0, comes to there is no much oscillation here. Oscillation is just a little bit there. It goes a little bit above, and then it comes down, and then it converges to 1 volt. Okay, so it so much depends, the behavior so much depends on this resistance values. Okay, this is the current through the resistance. So current through the resistance, it is initially rising up to 130 milliampere, and once the capacitor is fully charged to 1 volt, there will be no current. Until then there will be current which is going to be oscillating. So if I plot the current for 1 ohm, then you can see some oscillation in the current also. Okay, so you can see this oscillation. So the current is also oscillating. Okay, so current is oscillating with respect to 0. So right side is for current, it is oscillating with respect to 0, and the left side is voltage. So the first two colors, that is green and blue, are voltage. So you have to look the value on the left, whereas red is current, and you have to look right hand side for the value of current. Okay, now so R is a very deciding parameter which determines the nature of the curve. Now let me put R equal to 0. That is as good as removing the resistance, only inductor and capacitor is there. Now that is a very interesting case, and you see that it's a perfect sine wave. We didn't have any sine wave in this input. We don't have any sine wave in the input. We have only a pulse wave. So I will plot the pulse wave. The pulse wave looks like this, the blue. Okay, so we gave only just 1 volt, and it remains at 1 volt from then onwards. But what happens is that we are generating a sine wave. With just a pulse input, we are getting a sine wave output. Or in other words, we can say that we are giving a step input, and the output is basically a sine wave. Okay, it's not exactly sine wave, it is basically a it's basically what 1 plus cosine wave, 1 plus cosine wave. Yeah, because it's a shifted cosine wave to the upward direction. It is not between -1 and +1, it is between 0 and 2. So what is on the -1 is it has gone to 0, and what is on +1 it has gone to +2. So this is like adding 1 to the negative of a cosine wave. Okay, so it is 1 minus cos omega t. So that is the expression that you see. Okay, so that's basically this experiment. So you have to study basically what is the effect of different values of r, starting with r equal to 0, and then you keep increasing r, the value of r, then you will get different types of curves. If you take very large value of r, say 10 ohm or more, then what will happen is there will be no oscillation. There will be no oscillations. Okay. If you want, you can put a label also here. So you can put like out, and then you can plot this voltage. So this is the out, V out, which is shown in green. Let me remove this. Okay, so this is the output voltage waveform for R equal to 10 ohm, R equal to 10 ohm. If I keep on increasing this value, what you will see is that the time it takes to reach 1 volt will be more and more. So now it is reaching almost like 3 to 4 millisecond, but now you see we have only reached after 5 millisecond only up to 400 millivolt. So it takes longer time. So it's much slower rise. 7 ohm. Okay, so like this. So there are different names for it. Whenever we see a waveform which is not like the case of R equal to 0, whenever we see such waveform where it is oscillating just like this, so this is called there is a name for it. It is called undamped oscillation. Undamped oscillation. When you give a step input, the output is going to keep on oscillating forever. It is not damping. Okay, so this is called R equal to 0. R equal to 0. Or let me say R equal to 0 is called undamped oscillation. Okay, R equal to 0 is undamped oscillation. And then if you increase the R slightly, but very small, say like 5 ohm or maybe say 2 ohm, then you have you see there is an oscillation, but it is dying out with time. Okay, so let me put that also. Maybe the same thing. So R equal to 2 ohm, we get underdamped. So there is oscillation. So or it is called underdamped response. So underdamped response means we have decaying oscillation. Decaying oscillation. Oscillation is there, but it is dying out. Whereas the first case, this is undamped response, where oscillates forever. Okay, so these are some of the examples. And then if I put R very large, then we don't have any oscillation. So like 10, we don't have any oscillation. So this is another case. So this is called in this case R equal to 10. So here we have overdamped response. So overdamped response, we will have no oscillation. So these are the three cases which I have shown you. Now you can do this mathematically and get exactly from what values of R you will get all of this, like especially between 2 and 10 there is a critical point where oscillation begins. There is a critical value of R at which oscillation begins, so that you can find out theoretically. So for that you need to solve the differential equation. It will be a second order differential equation because this system is a second order system. So here what this experiment is doing is basically the response of a second order system to a impulse, not impulse, so the step input. So we are giving a step input and we are finding out what is the response of the system to that. Okay, so this is with respect to capacity, taking output across the capacitor. Now you can do the same thing with taking output across resistor, inductor also. So that will be the step response with, where you interchange the position of capacitor with the resistance. So you put C here and R here, and then you have a different kind of response. And similarly you can put interchange the capacitor and the inductor, and you can take the output across the inductor and see how the response or the voltage across the inductor looks like. Okay, but what I have shown is with respect to the capacitor. And same thing you can do it with a series circuit. Sorry, this is series circuit, but you can do with parallel circuit also. So parallel circuit, I am giving it as an example. As a homework, you can take different values and see. You only vary the resistance. Okay, L and C you keep it constant. Okay, and that L and C will determine your frequency when it is undamped. When it is undamped, that is the case where it oscillates forever. The frequency of that sine wave is determined by f equal to 1 by 2 pi square root of LC. Okay, so 1 by 2 pi square root of LC will be the value of the frequency when it is giving you undamped response. Okay, so that means a response in which the output voltage is not decaying, it is oscillating forever. So same things you can do with the parallel circuit. Okay, just like you did for resonance. So here only difference is that you have a pulse input. Okay? Earlier, in the study of resonance, you took a sine wave input. Now you are taking pulse input to study the step response. So this is called step response of second order system. Okay, what I have shown is for series RLC circuit, but you can do it for yourself, the parallel circuit. Now, in the theory part, you will study it in the network theory, but if not also, I will discuss it in the signals and system class, the theory of how to derive the expression for this voltage across the capacitor, how these different kind of responses that we see will come there. Okay, so that we will discuss in the theory part. Any questions?
Sir.
Yeah.
So what is the reason, sir, that it is oscillating by changing in value of resistance?
Okay. So let me give you a physical answer, but the detailed answer will come out of the calculation. Okay. So the simple answer is that this is like resistance is a electrical component which dissipate energy. Whatever energy, whenever current flow through the resistance, it basically dissipate energy. It wastes the energy by generating heat. It doesn't store any energy, but it dissipates energy. Whereas inductor and capacitor doesn't dissipate. When we talk about ideal inductor and ideal capacitor, they don't dissipate energy. They will just store energy. Okay, capacitor will store energy in electric field. Inductor will store energy in magnetic field. So two of the elements are storage elements. One of them is a dissipating element. So whenever current flow through resistor, energy is lost. So with time, the energy is lost more and more. Now when you reduce R to 0, you are basically removing the energy wasting device or component from the circuit. The component which is removing energy from the circuit is removed. So whatever energy was there in the source, there is nowhere it is getting removed. So what is happening is that initially the whole energy will be in the inductor. It will be stored in the inductor, and after some time it will be transferred to the capacitor, and after some time again it will come back to the inductor, and it is basically exchanging energy between inductor and capacitor. So that is the sine wave. So where did it gets the energy? It got the energy from the pulse input. So there was a one sudden change from 0 to 1 volt. So that change actually pumped some energy into the network. That energy is basically oscillating between inductor and capacitor. It is something like two people are playing, ball passing.
Sir, sir, in the practical sense, if we remove the resistors, I think oscillations will be still dying out. Sir.
No, in ideal case it will not, because resistance is that part of the circuit which dissipate energy. If it is entirely removed, there is no part which will dissipate energy. Of course, it is an ideal case. Real case, inductors will also have some resistance. They are basically some coils, and these coils have some resistance. So because of that, the coil itself will get heated up because of the resistance in the coil. But if you think about a ideal situation where if you can make a coil with zero resistance, one way to achieve is that you cool down the coil to reach very low temperature, where you will get superconductivity. So superconductivity is a case where you don't have resistance in the coil. You get zero resistance. So then what will happen is that this current will oscillate forever.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir. Sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
In case of dissipation of energy, so one dead inductor, if all the energy is being lost by the resistor, then how about the current flowing to inductor and capacitor?
The current will stop. So you can see that current was only for a short time. That is only during the consumption of energy or dissipation of energy. So if you look at here, if I run it again and measure the current, you can see that the current is dying out.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. It is visible.
it is dying. But if you put R equal to 0, current will never die out. If you put R equal to 0, it will oscillate forever. Okay.
Yes, sir.